Yo, the market stalled again for the second time in a row. Are we in trouble? I don't think so. What do you think? Let's talk about it with these charts in stocks and hip hop. Yo, as always, thank you for coming back to the channel. If this is your first time, it's your very first time here, please make sure that you come back. Hit that subscribe, hit that bell notification so you get notified every time when content is created here. This is Stocks and Hip Hop, and I figured out how to fix the problem of you learning how to read charts. And we do that with simplicity here every single week. This is a weekly series where I show you how to do this in real time. The problem that I faced all the time when learning how to read charts was that everything was in hindsight. Everything was always this beautifully mastered plan, because if you would have done this at this time, you'd be here. And we still hear that, and we're never going to hear the end of that. Well, I am fixing that problem by helping you understand how to spot those patterns and get involved in the market when you see them and take action. So make sure that you hit that subscribe, because we do this every single week. And on top of that, what we do here is we always talk about how stocks and hip hop have always been together. And this week's hip hop lyric comes from my man from Brooklyn, Fabulous, F-A-B-O. We take it all the way back to Cold Summer, the track with Ace Boogie. He let you know that plain Jane ain't the flex I'm investing, boy. You gotta know what I'm talking about here. If you know what album that is, put that in the comments. Put that in the comments, and let's continue to rock. And let me know what other songs may have investing or other money hints in their lyrics. Let's go ahead and jump into what's going on with the market right now. S&P recently closed at $5,117.09. We're zoomed in already, and we already said in the beginning how we have made an indecisive action in the second week in a row. So last week we had a spinning top candle, and it recovered that right now. That is just a simple indecisive move. Traders do not know where to go. We've got a lot of information coming out. And on top of that, we've also had a very, very strong move to the upside since we've had the breakout from the cup and handle. So, let's get our price targets. Where can we go from here? Let's get it on. Price targets right now is still going to remain the same from last week. We got a 5,200 to the upside in order to look forward to if this does continue on. Downside target is also going to remain the same. We're going to look around this 5,100 area. This is where we have recently hit support at as we've gone back and forth. You can see on this candle, and as well as last week when we had our indecisive action with the spinning top, the bottom of that spinning top was around that 5,100 area. So we have an upside of 5,200. We have a downside of 5,100. A very small range that we're playing in, but I think the market will continue to play in those ranges. Let's go ahead and move along to what we got going on with IWM. We use this in order to track the Russell. The ETF is showing that it is at 202.41 is the last close. And if you recall from last week when we talked about this, and if you don't recall, make sure you check out that last video. We talked about how we have to defend around that 200 to 202 area. The reason is because you can see we were here before and we bounced at that very same area. So the likelihood of coming back to defend that area was pretty good, and we are there now. So you know what it is, family. Let's get our two price targets. Let's make this simple. Our two price targets, we have our upside and our downside. Upside target right now is we are hanging around 202. We should get to around that 205 area in order to retest this area to see if the strength of the bulls can return. Our downside target is going to be right back around where we just recently tested at, around that 200 area. So we are still hanging around that low. However, we have not closed below it. And this is a good reason for us to believe that the bulls are still in control. Let's move along from what IWM has showed us to what the Dow has in store. And the Dow closed at $38,714.77. And we discussed on how we've been at the record highs for quite some time. 2 weeks before this, we've had a move to the downside. And this week, most recent week, we've had a move to the upside, and it is not held up. So What does that mean? This is not indecisive action. This is okay action. We flashed up, but we didn't hold it. So where can we go from here? Let's get our price targets. Usually when you see a sign like this, when you have a long upper wick and it stayed above its support, and you can see that we have been consistently around this 38.5 area, right? We can say 38,500 has been pretty consistent for a support. Typically when you see that it had flashed up and came back down, it would likely try to retest the highs of that candle. So price targets are 39,000. It did not change from last week as well. 39,000 is the upside target. Downside target is if we remain pretty much where we're at, around that 38,500 area. So upside 39,000, 38,500 is the downside. Lastly, let's get to the powerhouse, right? Save the best for last. The Nasdaq has closed at $17,808.25. The zoom in, before we zoom in, you see that beautiful cup and handle. We've discussed this multiple times. Make sure you check out the beginning of that cup and handle videos way back when we talked about this. Cup and handle is in full development, and we can see that we are in takeoff mode. So last week, or the week before, we had a move higher, which created a bearish engulf. And this week, we featured that move actually went lower again. So, where can we go from here? Let's get our price targets, all right? Now, the one thing about the bearish engulf is, like any other signal, we need confirmation. That confirmation will come from the close after. And you can see that this candle here closed pretty close to its support area, all right? While we will say that we are under that 18,000 area, you got to remember that supports and resistances are simply ranges. They are not targeted areas. So anytime you close within that area, you have a good chance of a reversal. And we are there in this area. We are there by about 200 points. So upside target right now is back to those highs, right? We got that high around at 18,500 is the upside target. Downside target is if this does actually continue, right? Because we did get below it. And if this does actually want to continue, we can close near that 17,500 area. So wrap things up here, all right? Beginning of the video, we talked about how we had 2 weeks in a row for the S&P on how it closed inconsistently with spinning tops. And if that is a signal to be leery of. Well, I don't think so. So what I'm looking at right now is the price action. Price action right now is showing that everything is moving up. Sure, we have a little bit of a drawdown, but usually when those happen, the market picks right back up, and that's what I am anticipating for right now. So if you want my thumbs up or thumbs down right now, this is actually still a thumbs up entry right now because we've moved to the supports, and those supports have held. So we have indexes like Russell right now continue to hold up above 200. I think that is a pretty good entry for people to get into the market. The S&P is close to its record highs. However, we are testing out where that support is at. So I think that is also a thumbs up entry. The Dow also was near its support area, which I think is a pretty good entry for somebody to get into the market. And then finally, the Nasdaq. The Nasdaq is one of the few right now where it's at its support area, but it's in the range of its support area. And this is still a good entry for the Nasdaq. So all four right now have a pretty decent entry as far as comparison to where the record highs were at. And I think that it would be okay to enter into the market. My personal belief. All right. So let me know what you think, what you are investing in, what type of ETFs that you like, and we can also cover them here. Put those in the comments. And then also hip hop. Let me know what you're listening to. And let me know what other hip-hop lyrics there might be out there involving investing. An artist that you may have, I will check that out. I will gladly put that on this channel. So enjoy yourself. Always, health is wealth. Spend time with people that you love. Make sure that you get your exercise and make sure that you drink your water. These are the 3 things we hammer home every single time because finances mean nothing if we do not have these 3 bases covered. This is true wealth, having those. So take care of your finances in the best order that you can, but primarily take care of yourself because there is nothing without you. All right. So I will check you next week. All right. Peace.